Sitting throwing rocks across the pavement, hoping it'll cave and swallow me whole. Wondering why my mind keeps on spinning. This is how I live into me what you told. Why am I like this?
And good morning, good evening, afternoon, depending on what part of the globe you're on, what time zone you are in. I'm your host, Skeptically Speaking. Thank you so much for joining us on the Biblical History Skeptics podcast. I hope I'm not being choppy. Someone says it sounds perfect. Another person says it sounds choppy. Audio is fucked up. Okay. All right. All right, we're going to go ahead and look into that. Sweet Pea, are you in the chat? I need you to do some investigating. Okay. Only so much I can do on my end. Bring me up. Okay, I don't... It sounds choppy now. Okay, so bringing you up isn't going to solve that. I need to figure out what is causing it to sound choppy. Interesting. Let me go ahead and... Let me hear how it sounds. The video is fine. No, yeah, that sounds terrible. Okay. Let's see if we can fix that. No, yeah, that sounds terrible. Let's see if we can fix that. All right, testing. Okay. Sounds like I'm in an upside down. Testing. No, same thing. Not sure why. Sounds like I'm in an upside down. Test. No, same thing. Okay, how about now? I'm going to keep testing it. Sure why. Sounds like I'm in an upside down. Sounds like I'm in an upside down. Test. Reduce background noise, echo cancellation. Okay, how about now? I'm going to keep testing it. Sure why. Sounds like I'm in an upside down. Okay, so I reduce background noise, echo cancellation. Okay, how about now? I'm going to keep testing it. Sure. Okay. All right, sorry about that. So I guess it's this microphone that is on the fritz. I'm not sure why. That would be. I'm going to go ahead and turn the microphone. Get rid of the echo if possible, because you have audio playing in the background. No, that was. So I'm listening to my tablet play the show, and so that's where that was coming from. Okay, I'm going to turn the mic on. Back to okay, I'm going to turn the microphone back to all right, so that's working. So if I turn it back to yeah, I can see something's blinking. Let's hear how that sounds. Sounds great now. Yeah, I can see something's blinking. That's weird. All I did was I unplugged it and plugged it back in. Damn it. So I don't understand what happened. That's weird. All I did. Yeah, crazy. Okay. I don't know. It's nothing. All I did was I unplugged it, plugged it back in. Okay, so if that sound, if that comes back again, I'm gonna do that again. Okay. Yeah, if it comes back again, I'll unplug and plug back in and see if. Have you tried unplugging and plugging it back in? Yeah, we actually did, and it worked. Okay, so we are not live on TikTok. It's not letting me go live. Yeah, unable to go live. Try again later. So, yeah, that's all there is for that. But yeah, we're on favorited, and that's it. Favorited in YouTube. So that's it. So I guess you probably already have heard about the TikTok fiasco where anybody who was in the US, they were blocked from using TikTok. Come to find out, it was only for a mere 24 hour. No, it wasn't even that. It was like 12, 13 hours or something like that. And so, yeah, that's what that was about. I don't know. I don't get it. So I really don't get it. So TikTok, and then what they did was they put a disclaimer saying, "Oh, well, if we're working with the Trump administration to get the ban lifted and whatnot." Pretty sick and twisted. So the fix is in. They're using the Trump administration. They're jumping all on board. So the CEO of TikTok, he has now jumped on board with MAGA. And that's what we're going to have to deal with. That's what we're going to have to deal with going forward. Yeah, we've given Trump almost enough money to pay off his fraud settlements. We'll be back soon. Yeah. Well, I don't think it's that. I think what they've done is they're working out an agreement to use TikTok as a MAGA soundboard, to use TikTok as a MAGA soundboard is what they're doing. And they're going to use TikTok to sell Bitcoin. Just in the brief 2 hours I was on it, not even that, I have seen multiple ads for Bitcoin, for this, that, and the other scam. And I'm like, wow, it's gotten even worse since the last time I was here. Well, that explains it. The CEO, I think the CEO is the same. Has that been confirmed? Did they I don't think they changed the CEO, because that would have been front page news coast to coast. What he did was he took CEO off of his profile on TikTok, but I think he's still the CEO.
Oh. Well, that would explain it then.
Yeah. Yeah, he's still CEO. But yeah, it's pretty sad. It really is. This is all it takes to become a acolyte of Trump and Trumpism. You just have to be abused a little bit, and eventually you'll be back in the fold. You won't be talking shit. Hell, look what happened to Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is now entertaining for MAGA. Did you see that shit? Well, it looks like you get a vote for CEO, Sweet Pea.
But oh, thank you, Yusuf.
But yeah, I mean, it's amazing to me. People that are making money off of TikTok, it's like, because they can't go back. I mean, they're working a 9-to-5 job, but it's not paying the rent. It's not paying anything, so people were just begging, hey, bring back TikTok, don't ban TikTok. And it's like, why aren't you screaming at your elected officials to raise minimum wage? Why aren't you screaming at your officials to tax billionaires so that way we can afford to bring the standard of living up? You tax billionaires and that's what happens. The standard of living goes up. Amazing. That's how we built the middle class here in this country. Taxation and unionization. But anyway. But yeah, let's listen. Let's listen to a little bit of how this works. This is the USA today. This is the US system.
Y'all don't understand how fucked up America gotta be for you to work hard and still have no fucking where to go. It's just like, oh my gosh, when is it all going to end? Like, y'all, it's so bad to the point where even though you work, you more than likely can't even eat every day. Not even 3 times a day. Me, none. Yet they expect us to keep working with a smile on our face. Fuck all of that. I be seeing why people don't fucking want to work. They pay us a little bit of money, but make everything fucking expensive. I'll be damned if I'm putting my life on the line for $14, $15. And then the whole time, your ass can get hurt or die at the fucking job you're at. So now you done fucking wasted your whole life being a hard worker to a company that don't give a fuck about what you got going on. Don't give a fuck that you don't have nowhere to go. Just don't give a goddamn. And certain people will never understand the frustration. You guys will never understand unless you're going through it. There is no reason why hard workers can't afford to eat, can't afford to live, can't afford to pay rent. It is so much. And I just wanted to let everybody out there know, okay? If you are deciding to bring your ass to America, hold on, y'all. Stay the fuck over there. Do not come over here. Please. I beg of you. This shit sucks. All prayers to all my Americans, all my USA motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying, my cousins, all that. We gotta figure something out because this ain't gonna work for me.
Yeah, so chasing the American dream, a dream to where you can better your life, you can become more than you are, you can it's like, no, it's a dream, it's an illusion, it's not reality. What do you think? What are your thoughts, Sweet Pea?
I think she's understandably upset. Yeah.
This is what you have to look forward to in this country if you come here. It's like you'll work your ass off until you're dead and still not have money to afford to live. You can't afford to do anything, go anywhere. You can't travel.
Yeah.
This is where it's at in this country.
It's a devastating reality. Would be nice if they got that sorted out. People should be having a decent living wage.
You know what's amazing to me with this TikTok ban? Everybody started going over to Redbook, which I was like, come on, you guys, you can't be serious. You're going to another Chinese app for what? What are you going to do when you're there, right? And come to find out, people were starting to see what life is like in China. They're starting to see how the lower middle class lives. And they're like, they're better. They live better than we do. How is this even possible? How is it possible that in a so-called communist country, they live better off than we do? They have a better standard of living. They get to retire at age 60. And if you're a female, you retire at age 55. I'm like, that's unheard of. And it's not, and people keep misconstruing it. They're like, oh, but that's forced retirement. No. It's not forced retirement. That is when the government is forced to give you your retirement money at age 60. You can continue working, but now you get 2 incomes. So you've got people that are just that, you know, they've got time to go to restaurants. They've got time to do, I mean, just, you know, there are places in China that are squeaky clean. I'm not saying it's a utopia, but it's like, man, people are seeing a different side of China than what we've been told our whole lives. You know, this is a good example. This is what we're talking about. So Kenny from Too Raw Too Real says, oh, you mean to tell me you're actually calling Congress to stop the ban of TikTok, but you didn't call Congress to raise the minimum wage or to raise the standard of living? Yeah, because why would we do that in this country? I mean, we'll continue to side hustle until we're dead or we're up in old age. It's like, great, you're working even more hours than when you were at your 9 to 5. These side hustles are not, you don't, when you're starting your own business, you put in long hours. It is a lot. It is a lot to do that. I don't know. I don't know if it's worse than America. You'd have says it's worse than America even. I don't think so. I'm not so sure about that. In certain places you can make that argument, but as a whole,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen their, it's like it's unbelievable. The stuff they've got, public transport. No, sure, give examples, that's fine. But yeah, it's I just don't know if I can buy that anymore. Yeah, definitely give examples. We'll listen. All right, while we're waiting, let's listen to a disappointed MAGA. Listen, people are spending thousands of dollars to travel to DC, traveling thousands of miles, spending thousands of dollars, literally to see this man inaugurated, this orange man with a bad tan. And come to find out, it's going to be held indoors. And I don't think it's going to be open to the public because you can only fit so many people inside the rotunda at the Capitol. And it's going to be held indoors. Wow. And these people, let's listen.
All right, President Trump, we're supposed to watch you here Monday, but you canceled it for the cold. We flew in from Texas. Tons of us are here. We all want to see it. Bring it back outside. We brought cold weather clothes. We're not scared of Democrats. We're not scared of the cold. Bring it back outside so we can watch you get sworn in. We've been waiting a long time for this. Let us stand there and watch you. Even if we're shivering, we want to watch you make America great again.
Oh, so Donnie Dollhands is afraid of the cold. Well, actually, I think it's a little more than that. They actually had chairs set up outside. They were starting to like set up, massive amounts of chairs, and then they started putting them down because they realized that they weren't going to get the crowds that they were expecting. And Donnie Dollhands cannot stand small crowds. By the way, if you're angry at the TikTok ban, let's listen to the person who's responsible for the TikTok ban.
When I wanted to disable TikTok 3 years ago, I was met with opposition from rhinos, Democrats, and everyone else. They actually went to court in an effort to stop me.
Well, look.
You are a contradictory insurrectionist.
Are you telling me that Democrats stood in the way of a TikTok ban? Amazing. Tell us more.
Rhinos, Democrats and everyone else. They actually went to court in an effort to stop me.
We're looking at TikTok. We may be banning TikTok. We may be doing some other things. There are a couple of options, but a lot of things are happening. So we'll see what happens. But we are looking at a lot of alternatives with respect to TikTok.
We gave them until September 15th. After that, they got to close shop. Okay, that's TikTok.
We're looking at TikTok. We're thinking about making a decision. We're going to be watching the hearings today very closely, because there's no question that what the big tech companies are doing is very bad. TikTok is one thing that we're doing, and we just, I don't know, maybe I would have done that anyway. I don't know. It could have been affected by this.
When I wanted to disable TikTok 3 years ago, I was met.
Yeah, I don't care to listen to the orange anus.
No, he's lying. He's lying. He's lying. 3 years ago. Yeah, no, he's lying. Sorry.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to me. It's wild. It's like it was all orchestrated. TikTok, please don't make me flip the table. So let's listen to Kenny Too Raw to Real. Here we go.
So CEO Show decided to cut the lights out on TikTok so that we wouldn't see the fact that he reposted Charlie Kirk and he removed that repost. Interesting enough. Baby, it's too late. We got it. We screenshot it. It's the fact that you're giving Trump credit for TikTok being back when y'all didn't have to be black to begin with, because the mere fact that Joe Biden said that they wouldn't be taking any type of legal action if you continue operations. So what was the real motherfucking reason? And I'm not no conspiracy theorist, but I'm gonna tell you what I truly believe, and I hope I'm wrong. What I believe is they reset the algorithm. We're going to start seeing more right-wing and conservative damn talking points being pushed through the algorithm that's going to show up on your For You page. And the other thing that's concerning to me is I'm seeing other content creators and some of my mutuals even trying to give Trump credit for a problem that he created to begin with. And my concern with this is I'm thinking because they saved TikTok, that some of these content creators are going to feel beholden to Donald Trump, and they're going to put money over morality. But let me tell you something, bitch. I never gave a fuck to begin with. I don't give a fuck about making money off this damn app. I just became monetized about 6 or 3 months ago. Okay? I've been doing this shit for fucking free for 5 fucking years. And we already know that the TikTok CEO with TikTok and their algorithm was pushing so much misinformation, disinformation through their algorithm while simultaneously hiding any pro-Democrat, pro-democracy, pro-Kamala content. And you know how I know? Because most content creators that you know and that you follow, we was all in the motherfucking damn group chat together, bitch. And I will screenshot that shit and post it. Don't play with it, bitch. I'm very motherfucking transparent. I don't give a fuck about a goddamn check. I care about my civil rights and civil liberties. And I'm praying that these other content creators are just like me and don't switch up for some motherfucking money. It's not motherfucking worth it, bitch. I will still be posting on TikTok to combat the misinformation, even though I know damn well I'm about to be shadow banned. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than money. This is about democracy. This is about the people. This is about civil liberties. Trump will get nothing from me.
You know what's amazing to me? I have never seen a video of his in my For You page ever. And I've been following him for a little while yet. You literally have pro-Kamala content is a thing for content creators. But that's the point. What he's saying is all of these content creators, the only pro-Kamala content there was from content creators like this guy. That's it. That's it. And the only, the only way to get his material, it's like you have to put his name in a search bar. No, I don't agree with that at all. The problem with Kamala is she didn't give a fuck about her constituents. That's why she lost. No, she lost because racist white Democrats decided not to show up. Or they lied about who they voted for and voted third party. That's why Kamala lost. Racism and misogyny. I'll say this. Had Joe decided to run, there was probably a better chance of him getting elected for the very same reasons that I stated. Even in the Democratic Party, there are people who would still vote for the old white man over the competent, strong black woman. And Kamala Harris has shown that she is above and beyond competent and that she does care for her constituents. I mean, look at her track record in California. She more than showed she was competent, and she more than showed that she cared. Her programs are the very reason the programs that she instituted or instigated while she was attorney general and as a senator, her Head Start programs, her Back on Track programs. A lot of people ended up getting a good, fair deal because of her. And also a lot of the landmark, groundbreaking legislation that even Biden passed, the only way he was able to get them passed was because of the tie-breaking vote of Kamala Harris. You know, I have seen so much disinformation about Kamala Harris. I fell for it in 2016, 2017, 2018. There's a reason Joe Biden picked her, and it wasn't because of the color of her skin, although that certainly helped. He saw in her a competent leader, someone who could get the job done. Now, did Kamala Harris make all the right decisions on the on the campaign trail? No. I would have ignored legacy media and gone on all of the podcasts, all of the shows. I would say that her, how do you call them? Basically the people that are her campaign managers were from the Obama administration. Well, no, they didn't intentionally let Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin destroy anything. They did that all themselves. When you say they, who's they? Intentionally, what was the intent? They had no choice. This is what happens when you have margins so small that you need every vote. Every vote matters, even a Joe Manchin and Sinema. This is why I say when Democrats show up to the polls, Republicans lose every time. We could have had a supermajority to where Joe Manchin and Sinema, their vote wouldn't have mattered. But because so many Democrats do not participate in the system, and I'm talking about registered Democrats, people that are registered to vote, but they don't because they get a hissy fit. Well, my favorite candidate didn't get elected, so I'm not going to go vote. Well, not voting has consequences. If you do not show up to vote, this is why you have Sinema and Manchin. We didn't have the supermajority under Joe Biden. Every vote mattered. The executive branch. Okay. The executive branch, that's Joe Biden. He has no choice in the matter. No, that's not true. The executive branch can only pass what Congress gives them. There's 3 branches of government. Congress is one of them. If Congress decides we're going to take this out, we're going to take that out, and we're going to get rid of this, and we're going to get rid of that, it's not up to Joe Biden. Joe Biden can only encourage, ask, plead, but that's all he can do. See, people think the end all be all is the presidency of the United States, but you're forgetting the Supreme Court. You're forgetting the Congress. You're forgetting the Senate. You're forgetting the House of Representatives. All of that matters. If we don't have a supermajority, this is why we have Sinema and Manchin. This is why they're able to do the things they do, because people that know better do not show up to the polls. And that's how Kamala lost. So many white Democrats did not show up. He does have a choice. The president can pressure. He can only pressure them. How? How would you pressure Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema? Kyrsten Sinema on her last farewell speech basically says, she basically used the words, "I don't give a shit." Look at FDR. FDR had a Congress. He had a government to work with him. FDR didn't do all that, he didn't pull all that out of his ass or in the ether. He had a government that worked with him. He pressured He was and because he had the backing of the Senate and Congress, he was able to pressure the Supreme Court and said, "Look, I will expand the Supreme Court and fill it." He will get everything he wants because he's not a weak little bitch like Joe Biden. Well, first of all, Joe, you're forgetting that Trump has an even bigger majority than even Biden had. Trump is not going to get everything he wanted. Trump did not get everything he wanted last time. You want to know why? Because Democrats were there to put a stop to a lot of it. As far as Joe Biden being a weak little bitch, that old man has been everywhere. He has literally traveled all across the globe. He's met with world leaders. He is the reason Joe Biden is the reason why, one of the major reasons why Russia has not totally run over Ukraine and Poland and a couple of others. Through Joe Biden's leadership, he's been able to strengthen NATO.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention the gas.
Yeah.
Sorry
First
to
of all,
interrupt.
Biden can only do what he can do. I mean, you're forgetting the three branches of government. Biden can't just dictatorially say, "I'm going to, with my pen, do an executive order." That can be reversed once Trump gets in office. Biden has actually proven to be more progressive than I had even hoped. When I voted for Joe Biden the first time, the only expectation I had for Biden is you do not be like Trump. I didn't have any expectations for Biden. I had no frame of reference except for conspiracy theories, which I knew were bullshit. But I knew that, Joe Biden was the better of the pick. Come to find out, he was much more progressive than I even had thought. You look at all of the people that have gotten their debts wiped out for schooling debt. That's because Joe Biden did that. Joe Biden, when he ran, said, "I do not plan on doing any debt forgiveness for school loans." Look how many millions of Americans are now debt-free due to his work. He wasn't able to do it for everybody, but he got a huge chunk done. He is hurting the progressive cause more than anyone. Like I said, Joe Biden has been more progressive than I even thought possible.
What about all the stuff Biden's done for veterans?
Right. Now, if you want to talk about the Israel-Palestine issue, that's a whole nother subject. I have lots of criticism about, on Joe Biden as far as what we've done with Israel. That I don't agree with that, and I think that should have come to a complete and utter halt. But anyway, that's beside the point. All right, let's move on. Let's look at the Lincoln Memorial, the People's March against Trump. Not that it's going to matter.
I just wanted to point out a few things.
We need to organize. We need to get information. That's what Free DC is doing.
No, don't give me anything about Jesus. We stand with Jesus. Oh, shut up. I wonder how many of these people that are marching, I wonder how many of these people actually showed up to vote. Because I'm sorry, I look at the white vote in this country and I cannot believe how abysmal it was. 72% of white men voted for Trump. 68% of white women voted in favor of Trump. That tells me a lot. There are more of us than there are of them. So why is it that, why do those statistics exist? And I'll tell you why. We've got a bunch of racist Democrats. I'm just going to, Anyway, I don't even want to talk about it. I've talked about it too much. Let's hear from Kenny again. too raw, too real. The TikTok ticky-tacky CEO and Donald Trump are in cahoots. You didn't have to tell me twice. When I saw that message Saturday, the first thing I saw that popped out of me, we are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution. Bull fucking shit. Here we go.
Baby, this is marketing 101. Trump and the CEO of TikTok are in motherfucking cahoots. Tell me why he's going to Trump's inauguration and why he posted, we are fortunate that Trump will indicate that he will work with us on a solution that will reinstate TikTok. Baby, are you quick to forget that Trump was the reason why we in this mess to begin with? He was the one who issued an EO that tried to ban TikTok to begin with. And it was Biden who revoked it in 2021 as soon as he took office. Baby, this is a stunt. You're using your platform to tell millions of motherfucking users that Trump is the reason why TikTok is going to come back, when in actuality, you didn't even have to go black to begin with. Because if anybody read the actual ban, it says the president has the ability to grant 90 days extension for TikTok to sell, or what I think will happen is Trump is going to call on Congress, which is Republican control, and along with the Senate, to pass a bill to bring back TikTok, to make it look like Trump saved TikTok. Trump saved all these entrepreneurs. He cares about the working people, when he doesn't give a damn about none of us. This is a fucking distraction. Distraction from us not paying attention to the mass deportation he's going to implement, not paying attention to that federal abortion ban that he's going to implement, not to pay attention to him taking away our affordable health care, meaning the Affordable Care Act. This is all a fucking distraction. Reason why I said these two are motherfucking in cahoots together is because why is the CEO reposting Charlie Kirk? Anybody who's a content creator understand that when we were posting things about Kamala Harris and actually bringing real facts and truth to the people, all of our content got hidden in the algorithm. I wonder motherfucking why. They're going to continue to spread misinformation, disinformation using TikTok, and Trump's hands is going to be all over it.
Yeah. First of all, yeah, just to reiterate, Biden didn't lose. Biden didn't lose at all. Biden wasn't weak. Should he have been strong in some areas? Yeah. You're already up. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what happened. Okay.
No, that was my fault. I was finding information on all the achievements that Biden's done the last 4 years, because Biden, to be honest, he's done amazing. He has done more for the country in the last 4 years than I ever thought possible, considering that he...
Okay, hold on.
Sorry.
Let's go ahead. Go ahead and read out the list of Biden's accomplishments. I'll go ahead and mute. Do you have that list? Sweepy, do you have the list? Okay. Well, while we're waiting, let's go ahead and MAGA is imploding. I love it. Well, yeah. So it's amazing to me. A MAGA PDB is upset that Andrew Tate, a piece of shit misogynist, is making fun of his daughter, and so he's not going to watch him anymore. Well, bro, why were you watching him to begin with? What did he have to really offer you? Why were you watching him? To what end? What purpose? The guy's a piece of shit. This guy shouldn't be anywhere near anybody's daughter, and here you are. Sweet Pea, if you're muted, you got to unmute. I think you're muted if you're reading the list. Hey, what's going on? Are you there?
Am I
Hello?
back?
Yep, you are back. Go ahead. Hello, can you hear me? I don't know if I don't think you can hear me.
It's got two of me again.
Okay. Do you have the list? Do you have the list? Okay, I'm going to move on. Let me do something. Let me do this. Move from stage, add. Can you hear? No. You have to come back up if you want. If you want to come back up, try again. But I was talking, but I don't think you could hear me, so I'm not sure what was going on with that. Anyway. Sorry about that. All right, come back up when you can. All right, let's go ahead and play this video.
Yes, your daughter's ugly, bro. Objectively an ugly child. Sons are gay, daughter's ugly. You know where I am. You can come do something. But if you're just going to tweet, I'm going to keep saying it. Yes, your daughter's ugly, bro.
Wow. Unbelievable. That's wild. It's like, of course he's going to say that. He doesn't care. You know, he's a terrible human being, and he's just going to keep on mouthing off, and he's going to keep on. It's like, why would you think you were safe from his misogyny? Why did you think your family was going to be safe? This is what happens when you're just allowed to run your mouth off without any consequences. And he knows nothing's going to happen, so he's just going to keep on mouthing off. Anyway, here we go. Let's go ahead and listen to this one.
Just a quick question for those who have pronouns in their bio that say they, them. Are both of you or just the one who wrote the bio?
See, videos like that just hit different for me because I was bullied incessantly, elementary school through middle school. Like, I was the short kid, big head, giant glasses, perfect target. And I minded my business. I was quiet. You ever wanted to know where I was in a corner reading a book. Perfect target for a bully. So when I see people like this who were those bullies that have grown into adulthood, I just want to know what it is that you get enjoyment out of. Like, what is so enjoyable about demonizing and othering people, especially when those people are nowhere near your circle, your group of people. I can guarantee you non-binary and trans people are nowhere near your circle because they know you're unsafe. They know you are a dangerous person. Like, honestly, what it boils down to is consent and the respect of boundaries. How hard is it? Like, for me, my brain just can't comprehend it because it's super simple. When somebody sets a boundary, they're like, hey, don't do X, Y, Z. I'm like, cool, not a problem. It doesn't hurt me not to respect their boundaries. It's like for conservatives and somebody sets a boundary, it's like,
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. I mean, these guys are just bullies, and they just don't care, you know, who they hurt. They don't care who they rub the wrong way. They just want to live their worst lives, and I don't know. I don't get it. But they think they're all tough and brave because they're behind a screen, and they're a bunch of gym rats. It's like, what do you got going in your life to where you have time to bully somebody? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, they shouldn't be bullying anybody. Absolutely disgusting. I'm sorry about that. I was having technical difficulties. I now have the list up in front of me.
Okay, go ahead.
So the Biden-Harris administration, this last 4 years, have put America through a rescue plan to get America vaccinated out of the pandemic that Joe Biden went into. Also, Biden hit the record of 16.6 million jobs created during the administration, a record of 21 million new business applicants Joe Biden created through this administration, and that
I mean,
unemployment.
the job count itself, if that isn't enough to convince you that he's a competent president, I don't know what else is. I mean, I'm not saying that all of these jobs are the best paying. I'm not saying that they are the paying top dollar, but at least it's something. It's a lot better
It
than
is.
where we were.
Oh, and unemployment of this administration, unemployment for the Biden-Harris administration is the lowest than it has been in 50 years.
I believe it. I believe it.
Small businesses booming with American entrepreneurs, with a record 21 million new business applicants since he took office.
Yeah.
The tax system. Biden-Harris administration has enacted a corporate minimum tax that ensures billion-dollar companies can't get away with paying zero in federal income taxes, places a subcharge on corporate stock buybacks, and
Just a quick question for those who have
internal
pronouns in their bio.
revenue. Services to ensure wealthy tax cheats pay their fair share in taxes. There is a whole list. I put the link in the chat for anyone willing to actually read it. Biden has achieved more in the last 4 years than any other one I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you look at the jobs numbers, he brought back all of the jobs that Trump lost during the 2020 pandemic and beyond. He brought back all of those jobs and then some. When you look at the numbers, it's just amazing. And all of this is going to be squandered with a second presidency, with a second Trump presidency, all because Democrats would not show up to vote. And yes, when you run the numbers, yes, they did not show up to vote.
No, they didn't.
Look at the numbers that Biden had, and you look at the ones that Kamala had, and you can see, yes, they either didn't show up or they voted third party. Or they just voted for Trump and lied about it. But when you look at the numbers, Trump did not get a whole lot of new voters.
Nope.
You know what I mean? It's not like when you look at the numbers, he didn't get a huge portion that sent him over the it.
No.
You know, it's just the disinformation that's why I wasn't horribly sad with TikTok going, but I'm like, well, yeah, but look at Facebook. Look at Threads, look at Instagram. You still got all of the bad information, and you still got Russian propaganda being, just pulminated across these platforms.
Do you want to hear about the housing?
Yeah, go ahead.
So increased housing for Americans. After decades of underinvestment in housing, we are finally seeing progress under the President Biden and Vice President Harris, with more units under construction than in any other time over the last 50 years. And the rate of the new housing starts up at 17% compared to under the last administration.
Yeah, so not only are new homes being built, but we could have addressed the monopoly, the what is it? These huge mega corporations that are buying huge swaths of the neighborhood, literally buying up homes and then reselling them for top dollar. That could have been addressed, but no. Now we've got the Trump administration to deal with.
Yep.
What are these? What are these funds called? I keep forgetting what they're called. They're not trust fund. What are they? Anyway,
Emergency
go ahead.
funds?
No. We're talking about these hedge funds. That's it. Hedge funds. That literally their main existence is to buy up businesses, buy up homes, and sell them off.
Yeah. Do you want to learn about infrastructure? So the infrastructure, so Biden-Harris administration, the bipartisan infrastructure law is one in a generation of investments that is rebuilding America's roads, bridges, rails, and expanding access to clean drinking water, ensuring every American has access to high-speed internet, tackling the climate crisis. There is more. During the Biden-Harris administration, the infrastructure funding as 72,000 infrastructure projects across thousands of communities in all 50 states, in DC tribes and territories. These projects are rebuilding our nation with an American material, thanks to requirements that all iron, steel, and manufactured products and construction materials used in federal-funded infrastructure projects are produced in America. Implemented by the bipartisan infrastructure law has helped create hundreds of thousands of good-paying jobs, including a record high number of jobs in the construction sector. The bipartisan infrastructure law is the largest investment in roads and bridges since President Eisenhower interstate highway systems, and the Biden-Harris administration has already started improvements on over 200,000 miles of roads and launched over 12,000 bridge repair projects. The law also invested $66 billion for rail, the largest investment in passenger rail since the inception of Amtrak. Am I saying that right? Amtrak?
Yeah.
Makes the largest investment in public transit ever, including billions to electrify or upgrade our bus, transit, rail, and ferry fleets. The Biden-Harris administration has replaced nearly 500,000 lead pipes and has announced billions of dollars in investment in clean water, high-speed internet, and more to provide and improve the lives of millions of Americans.
Yeah, it's like this is the sad fact of this country. If the problem isn't happening to us personally, it's as if the problem doesn't exist. And when you have these corporations who are allowed to poison our drinking water, poison our air, poison the land, and they've been doing it with impunity almost. And this problem doesn't just affect Democrats. This affects MAGA, especially MAGA, because they live in these southern states where it's allowed to go on. And this is why, it's I don't know. It's like we just don't learn. We never learn.
No.
And it's just going to continue becoming a problem over and over and over and over again. And again, these people know that these corporations are poisoning them and they need relief. And the only way they're going to get relief is if a Democrat gets elected in office. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, but if you don't care enough to show up to the polls, you're not going to get compensation. You're not going to get relief. You're not going to have a government big enough to stand up against these corporations. And this is, I mean, we're going back to the world of Rockefeller and the robber barons. We're going backwards as a society, not forwards. And this is because people have succumbed to disinformation.
Yep.
This is why. And we're hit with an apathy that we're just becoming lethargic, and we wonder why we can't get anything done. This is why the margins are so small. This is why, Democrats had such a small margin. You had people like Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. I mean, if Democrats would just show up to the polls, we wouldn't have to worry about these slim margins.
No, we wouldn't.
But again, I mean, yes, it is a messaging problem. Yes, the Democrats need to stop going to legacy media. The writing's on the wall. No one is paying attention to CNN. Very few people are even watching CNN except diehard fans. MSNBC is the viewership after the election dropped like 65%. MSNBC, ABC, NBC. It's just first of all, we got to get it out of our heads that that this is left-wing media. This is not anything close to left-wing media. This is like just right of center. That's what I would categorize these media outlets, and no one is watching them. You have podcasts that are literally soaring past the legacy media in the numbers. It's right there. The numbers are right there. Stop going to these news media outlets. Barack Obama had a supermajority but couldn't pass universal health care because of Joe Lieberman. They do it all on purpose. Well, again, he had a supermajority, but he did not have the votes within his own caucus. That should tell you something.
No.
This is why you've got assholes that even though they vote Democrat, they'll vote for people that will stop us from having free healthcare. Again, where do you think this anti-universal healthcare comes from? It stems from racism. We don't want black people to have anything good, so we're going to make our white constituents suffer. It all goes back to that. We're dying because of whiteness and our proximity to whiteness. It's called drained pool economics, drained pool politics. Well, if the law is we have to let everybody in the public pool, we're just going to shut the pool down so no one can have it. That's the same mentality. This is what happened.
Incredibly selfish.
Yeah, it is incredibly selfish. And what's amazing to me is even so-called rich people are suffering from lack of health care. Luigi Maggioni's mom, his own mother, suffered from lack of health care. She wasn't getting the health care she needed, and their family was wealthy. Their family was rich. We're suffering because of whiteness. This is what's happening in this country. It's infected not only the Republican Party, but it's in the Democratic Party as well. And we have to recognize it. And until we deal with that, you can forget universal health care. If we do not address this internalized racism and misogyny, we're not going to get anything. Universal health care, where do you think that came from? Hillary Clinton wrote about that back in the 90s, and they called her a communist for it. Hillary Clinton, the person that even lefties cringe when they hear her name, yet she was promoting universal health care way back then. What kind of a world would we be in right now had Hillary Clinton won? Think about that. If Hillary Clinton had won the election, what kind of a world would we live in? Would we be living in? Anyway,
guys,
let's
probably
move on
have
to Christ before Jesus. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get into Christ before Jesus. So thank you for joining us. Sweet Pea, and we will see you.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully TikTok will be working. And,
I hope so. And then can we revisit what else the Biden and Harris administration has signed in?
Sure. That's not a problem. Just remember where you left off of. And hopefully, I'm hoping by next week, I'll have a soundboard that'll actually be operating, that I'll be able to operate a lot of this, and I won't have multiple cameras, multiple mics. So we'll see how that works. I'm hoping.
That'd be better too. Thank you for having me as co-host.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next week on the show.
Yeah. Good night, everyone. I'll be in the chat.
All right. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to get out of the politics version of the show, and we're going to get into Christ before Jesus. And we're just going to read a little bit. We're not going to go too crazy. That's okay. No, that's fine. Yeah, I'm not against having guests come on the show. Wouldn't mind. Send you invite, and you can come up and talk to us. Not a problem. We'll see about next week. See if we can arrange something. All right, we're in chapter 7, stylometric analysis, and we're just going to read a few pages. Okay, after doing significant amount of reading of the New Testament texts and the history surrounding the first few centuries of Christianity, we wondered if there was more unbiased, concrete way to find out more about the origins of the New Testament. We had a very strong working theory, but juries want to see more than just a detective's hunch and some accusations. They need to see that the prosecution lay out of the case beyond a reasonable doubt. Turn on your TV, scroll through Netflix, Hulu, or just about any other streaming subscription. You don't have to search for very long before you find a plethora of true crime series. Some of the most popular are the cold case crimes. The crimes that sat unsolved for years, only to have the cases blow open by DNA evidence. That's usually the path the stories follow. They start off with a heinous crime committed so long ago the culprit believes they got away. Then after sitting in an evidence locker for years, some of the collected blood hair samples are re-examined using modern DNA research. By digging deeper than the culprit probably ever thought forensic scientists could, the investigation continues and the correct arrests are made. Forensic science has been around for centuries. The first guilty verdict based on an early form of forensic science was in 1325 in medieval China. The examination of hair, footprints, and fingerprints are all examples of this field of science, but DNA analysis first led to an arrest in 1986. Just like advancements in DNA research have led to the truth, we need something more than throwing out our opinions and hoping they were right. We need hard evidence to point to that would solidify our theory. We also need to correct parts of it that we may have initially gotten wrong. Our theory wasn't perfect, so we needed to know what we had missed and what we had caught. This led to us looking into stylometry. What is stylometry? Stylometry is the mathematical analysis of style and writing. Style can come in a form of word choice and vocabulary, spelling, punctuation, grammatical usage, and other factors. People have been looking at the style of the New Testament books for nearly as long as they've been in existence. Early church fathers, for example, debated over the style of the Hebrews and if Paul was the author or not. However, our very limited ability to navigate Koine Greek meant we would have to find another approach to stylometry. This is where computerized stylometry comes into play. Computerized stylometric analysis of the New Testament goes back to the 1980s with Anthony Kenny's A Stylometric Study of the New Testament. However, even to this day, the majority of stylometric analysis done on the New Testament texts makes the assumption that looking at them alongside second century texts would be of no avail. Because of this, we saw an opening to potentially prove or disprove our hypothesis that most, if not all, of the New Testament canon was written in the 2nd century. Unsurprisingly, stylometry has come a long way since the 1980s. Recently, researchers have been able to be as precise as knowing whether Donald Trump wrote a given tweet or one of his interns did, and identifying J.K. Rowling as the person behind the pseudonym Robert Galbraith. But we aren't programmers, nor do we have an extensive knowledge of Koine Greek as mentioned above. Plus, even if we did have that knowledge, it would be inaccessible to most people, and they would just have to take our word regarding our findings. But we came across Stylo, a stylometry package for the programming language called R, just the single letter. R is generally used for statistics, and a package is basically an extension of extra code that can do even more things. R is frequently run in RStudio, an integrated development environment IDE, which makes R easier to use. Stylo provides not only stylometric analysis, but also a graphical user interface, GUI, which means for the most part, you don't really have to code anything yourself once you get it running. It's basically a software inside RStudio. Stylo was created by, let's see if I can pronounce this, Messiage Elder, Mike Kestemon, Jan Rubicki, and Stefan Pelstrom as a project of a computational stylist group, which is based out of several universities in Europe. The way Stylo works is it uses a mathematical formula to compare the most frequent words in each text or other texts. Here is Elder's delta, the formula developed by one of the creators of Stylo, which, along with other formulas Stylo has built in, can be found in the Stylo's guide. So I'll just see if I can show you the formula there. Okay, obviously this math could all be done by hand if you really wanted to, but computers can do it quite a bit faster than we can. This is even more so the case when you're looking at dozens, even hundreds of texts with thousands of words. What the formula does is it measures the distance between various texts based on the most frequent words or strings of words or characters. Stylo then creates a graph to represent these distances from one another. There are a number of different formulas you can use, and some work better in certain scenarios than others. We found that Eder's delta and Eder's simple delta tended to provide us with the most reliable results when looking at Greek texts at varied lengths from antiquity. What does reliable mean here? Before diving into the New Testament, we developed our methodology based on using texts in Greek and other languages with known authors to determine the most effective way of testing texts. Thus, most reliable means most accurate and likely to attribute texts correctly. This isn't to say other formulas or different variables, such as different most frequently used numbers, are useless, but that each has their place and purpose. Our approach is specifically tailored to Greek texts from around 200 BCE to 300 CE range. Stylo also lets you look at other factors such as strings of letters or words. These strings are called n-grams, or 2-gram would be 2 words together, such as 2 words, and a 3-gram would be something like 3 words total. The idea behind using an n-gram beyond single words is that authors use strings of words uniquely in their writing, even in the single word level. Though our usage of vocabulary is different enough to be able to tell the difference between authors in many cases. Stylo has a number of other functions, and if you are interested, there are guides online as to how it works and how to use it. We recommend anyone interested in this subject to learn to use Stylo as more research and work is put into these texts. The more likely we are to learn more about the development of early Christianity. While we think we have made a number of discoveries, or at least confirmed using stylometric analysis the discoveries and theories of others, we know there is more to be learned from the various documents we have from the first few centuries of Christianity. The best part about all of this is that aside from the legwork of collecting texts and learning curve regarding the software, this is all free, open sourced, and repeatable to every person reading this book. None of our data methodology or tools are behind paywalls or inaccessible. If you want to repeat our texts or tests, try to disprove us or improve upon what we have done and make further discoveries, you can. If we are wrong or lying, you can catch us, and if we are right, you can confirm it yourself. We have nothing to hide, and we encourage others to pursue the research further. This is by Matthew Britt. Okay, And then starting next week, we'll get into more about the stylometric analysis method. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been Biblical History Skeptics Podcast. Thank you so much. And hopefully next week we will be back on TikTok. That would be great. All right. Take care, everybody. We appreciate you. See you later.
I can see the light, but I can also see the bones decay. I don't know what else there is today. I'm going my best not to run away. Sitting throwing rocks across the pavement, hoping it'll cave in and swallow me whole. Wondering how the world keeps on spinning, kinda scared of living when it unfolds. Hard to see the light when everything is silent, waiting for the clear. Thankful I'm alive, but terrified of dying, but hey, I'm still here. Is it bad sometimes? I like it when I lose control. There's something in it that's so beautiful. Listen, I can see the light, but I can also see the bones decay. I don't know what else there is today.